Welcome to Solo Shot First, and today we are going to be having a look at what I wouldn't class it as the second figure, but obviously this was the other one that I've pulled out of the Jedi Survivor 3-pack, and this is the KX Security Droid. Now, a couple of things obviously on the card back itself. I mean, obviously this is comes on this beautiful thick cardstock, which is lovely that we're now getting all of that, and obviously it has that completely unpunched hole. So for you carded collectors, obviously that's a lovely thing to have. Now the actual image for this this KX Security Droid, it's a nice image on the front of the card. Obviously it's very much an artist's impression. You've got the Canon logo down there in the bottom right hand corner, the warning logo in the top right as you look at it, and the 4+ age group in the top left. The actual name pill is it's difficult. It actually looks like quite a dark red. Whether the video is going to show that or not, I'm not 100% sure, because obviously it's quite dark here. And obviously behind the actual KX Security Droid itself, then obviously you've also got that nice red. So it makes the droid, I suppose, stand out as much as it possibly can. Looking at the droid through the packaging, this looks obviously very much like possibly a repack of the K2SO droid, and obviously just with maybe, you know, the odd minor adjustment. But it's a nice looking card. And again, what's not to like about having more droids? So let's have a look at the back of this card. So we just have a quick look because obviously you know what this is as part of that of this Jedi Survivor 3-pack, and it's showing the 3 figures that you get there in that nice Star Wars Racetrack with Vintage Collection logo. So this is VC number 256. So just coming back round to the front of the card for one final look before we get this out of the packaging. And yeah, he does obviously have sort of, in that packaging you can probably see there on that the left hand side, or for his right arm I should say, he does sort of seem to have that sort of don't know whether you want to call it like an electro staff or something like that, but you know, it's a decent enough looking card back. But let's get this figure out of the packaging and we will have a look in more detail. Okay, so here we've got the figure out of the packaging itself. And I don't know whether, obviously, again, because it's the light here, and apologies if you've heard me sort of moaning about the light over the last few videos. It's just the nature of the beast now for this time of year. But it's a nice looking figure. Obviously, the colouring on this is decent. I mean, obviously, it's sort of primarily a sort of a dark black, almost like a charcoal-y black, really, I suppose you could say, but with some nice, obviously, sort of silver bits, obviously, in terms of from his sort of the parts, if you want to call them that, really, which I suppose you would. And then obviously some just sort of nice detailing with like the red around the arm, the top of the arm there, that sort of arm plate, if you want to call it that. And then from the back, also obviously on that, don't really want to class that as a backpack, but it's some sort of, it is some sort of backpack that he's actually carrying. I don't know how different this is, so I was just adjusting his head to the actual main K2SO droid, because I haven't actually got that one to hand. But it's, you know, it's a decent looking figure. In terms of the articulation, there are a couple of bits here. He's got really good articulation at the head, with that being obviously able to sort of swivel with that joint there, if you can see that sort of, so you can not only just sort of move it up and down, but it does rotate in there nicely. And then obviously the head is on that hinge as well, so that's a really nice part. However, because of the nature, I suppose, just of this sort of droid and the way it's set up, the articulation at the shoulders is slightly limited, just quite simply because of these pads. Now maybe that's just my one, and I don't want to go into too much detail sort of trying to get them. Look, you do have movement there, so it is there. But I think just because of that, unless you don't seem to be able to get that under that part. So slightly limited at the shoulder, but articulation then at the elbows, at the wrist with a swivel, and it does obviously have a hinge. You've got articulation at the hips, at the knees, and at the ankles. So really good, decent articulation. You can probably see this one is actually on a stand because I was just having a little bit of an issue getting him to stand, but that's just I think, because of the table that this is on. And the peg holes are quite small, but I did actually manage to get that in there, so that's quite good. In terms of the accessories that come with it, I'm not sure whether that backpack doesn't appear to be removable. So no, I think that is a fixed backpack. So you actually just get this sort of, I don't know what you want to class that as. I would almost class it as like an electro staff, electro purge staff, however you want to class it, something like that. But some nice detailing on that. And that actual blue, I'm not the biggest fan of that type of effect, but it seems to work quite nicely on this. So that's reasonably good. So yeah, overall, quite a decent figure. I mean, obviously this video is going to be quite a short one, just quite simply because of there's not too much to talk about this. Let's just see if we can get that staff into his hands. Okay, so that actually pops in quite nicely, and I'm sure with a bit of manoeuvring you could get him into some pretty decent poses. But all in all, you know, as I said, I don't actually have the original K2SO to hand. It looks almost like it's pretty much the same thing. But what's not to like about having more droids, and especially this type of one, because you know, I do think we've certainly seen glimpses of this character. I think it was it from? Oh God, I'm going to get really confused here. Please correct me if I'm wrong. It was either The Mandalorian or Book of Boba Fett. I think one of those where they just sort of showed a really small glimpse where I think these things were. I believe it or not. Was it attacking Mandalore? If I've got that completely wrong, please somebody correct me. But anyway, that's it for now. Listen, I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you have, please hit the like button. If you are new to the channel and you want to subscribe, please do. There'll be more videos coming shortly. If you've got any questions, any comments, and please correct me if I'm wrong with those things I've said, please leave them in the comments section below and I'll come back to you as soon as possible. I hope you've enjoyed the video and thanks for watching.